Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Big D Podcast. Before I announce today's special guest, well, as you can see, it is a little warm in Florida. Unfortunately for friends in Texas and many parts of the country dealing with the after effects of winter storms and bitter cold, but in Florida it's sunny and 80 degrees. Please subscribe to the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page where you can see all my latest videos. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming. And also for your baseball fans, you can see, well, I'm not sure you'll be able to see me, but I will be walking spring training for the Boston Red Sox starting in a couple weeks. So baseball's coming, spring training's back, games start March 28th, and I can't wait for the season to start. And on the line is my buddy Alex.
How you doing, Dylan? Nice to be back as always.
Fine. How about you? How things going with you?
I'm doing great. Like you said, it's a nice sunny day in Florida. Probably the only state in the country above 70, 80 degrees. So I'm rocking out the USA tank top. It's a good day.
I was thinking Florida might be the only state above freezing, but that's a whole matter. I know one place that's buzzing right now, and that's Indianapolis, because as you heard last night, the Colts made a blockbuster move getting Carson Wentz from the Eagles for a 2021 third rounder and a 2022 conditional second rounder, which may become a first depending on whether Wentz plays enough snaps and if the Colts make the playoffs. So what did you think of that move?
I think Eagles fans, I just think it was about time. Carson Wentz apparently wore out his welcome in Philadelphia. It was kind of an unfortunate downhill trajectory for his Philadelphia career. Jalen Hurts comes in, the fans start jumping the Carson Wentz ship a little bit, it seemed like. And it just looks like Philadelphia was ready for a new regime. They like what they saw to Jalen Hurts, and I don't think Carson Wentz really felt the brotherly love of the city of Philadelphia anymore. And I think it was probably about time I think it was right timing. And as far as a situation, he reunites with his former offensive coordinator, correct, Frank Reich. And, I think it's a good spot for him. I think Indianapolis, I was a big Carson Wentz fan when he came in the league. It just, unfortunately, his injuries kind of started adding up, and he never really seemed to get back onto the skill level he was at more near the beginning of his career. But it's a restart, it's a refresh, and I think he's going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, it's interesting because going into that 2016 draft, I thought Carson Wentz was clearly the one guy. Good, big arm, could play in cold weather, and also won a national championship in college. And I'm sure it was FCS, but still, the fact you played in big games, And first couple of years, I thought Wentz looked like a star. Before Wentz tore his ACL, I thought Wentz was going to win MVP. The Eagles looked like the NFC front runner, and then all of a sudden Wentz tore his ACL, and then Foles led them on that magical run to Minneapolis. And I'm not sure Wentz ever became the savior in Philadelphia again. And then, of course, even the next year, Wentz was hurt when Foles beat the Bears when in that crazy playoff game with the double doink, right?
Double doink, yeah. Cody Parker will remain in Bears infamy for that. That's for sure. Cody Parkey, I'm sorry.
And so,
yeah. Go on.
I'm intrigued to see what happens in Indianapolis. I think Wentz will have a lot of success with the Colts. Obviously, Frank Reich and Wentz developed a strong relationship where Wentz started and played well his first couple of years, but I'd hate to see what the Eagles roster looks like in a few months because the Eagles are on salary cap, you know what.
Yep.
With an aging roster, I mean, there are questions whether or not Jalen Hurts is a star. I mean, if you look in week 17, they benched him for Nate Sudfeld. How do
Yeah.
you bench presume your future quarterback for a third stringer against your arch rival?
I did. Yeah, that decision blew the minds of NFL fans everywhere. I think. I mean, some people were saying they were throwing the game because of the playoff situation. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking over there in Philadelphia with that call. It looked like they weren't trying to win the football game to me, at least. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see the future of Philadelphia. I mean, Jalen Hurts, he's looked pretty good in the amount of uh, just time he's had under center. And I think it will be nice for Philadelphia not to have the headache of the Hurts versus Wentz drama. Like, I mean, especially with the team, and especially with I'm gonna relate it back to Miami this year. Like, sometimes when you do have two guys in the quarterback room who may not, if there's not a clear-cut option on who the number one guy is, some players might lean one guy and some other players may lean another guy, and it could lead to a rift in the locker room. So, I mean, from them moving on with Carson Wentz, they might bring in some competition for Jalen Hurts, maybe, possibly, I don't know. But it should be hopefully at least better for the locker room that they have their guy now. And then the next step is just figuring out who he's going to be throwing the ball to, who he's going to be having in his backfield, and just kind of the other pieces around him. Which also, let me see. Also, I mean, I was thinking about what do you see for the Colts in 2021?
I see the Colts as a Super Bowl favorite in the AFC. It pains me to say it because, I mean, my Jags are in the same division, but I think the Colts just became a Super Bowl favorite. I mean, I
Really?
think Kansas City will still be the clear favorites, but I think Indy's next in line. Either Indy or Buffalo will be next in line because you look at the Colt roster, great offensive line. Jonathan Taylor's a workhorse at running back. Pittman's a star receiver. I mean, if the Colts could
What happened with T.Y. Hilton? You think they
uh,
hold on to T.Y. Hilton, or you think he goes somewhere else?
I think the Colts. Well, the Colts still need to add another receiver and replace Anthony Costanzo at left tackle. But other than that, right guards, center, and right tackle all in place. And the Colts could add another wide receiver potentially, either in the draft or free agency. I think the Colts are a serious threat because you know what team won the Super Bowl? Tampa. You know how they won it? Good line play. Guess what the Colts can do? Run the ball.
Yeah, that's very true. They've got some beasts on that offensive line. I remember I really wanted Quentin Nelson when he was coming out of college for Miami. He's definitely one of the best offensive linemen at that position in the league for sure. They boy, as far as Super Bowl contender though, that 11-5 this year with Phillip Rivers. You think Carson Wentz is that big of a jump from Phillip Rivers to get them to the Super Bowl?
Yes.
I mean, I think he definitely has the potential to be. It's just, the last couple of years have been rocky, and whether that's just Philadelphia being not quite the right situation for him anymore, or if it's something more on his side of the table. I guess we'll see. I mean, whether T.Y. Hilton stays or goes, like you said, Michael Pittman is a budding star. I mean, he blew up this season, and I think Colts fans are definitely going to be happy to have him. And I think Carson Wentz is definitely going to be happy to be able to throw him the ball. Also, like you said, Jonathan Taylor is a nice little piece they had in the backfield last year, who turned a nice draft pick into success there. So that's good for the Colts. As far as Super Bowl, there's a lot of good teams in the AFC, man. I'm not ready to give them that much of a upward trajectory, I guess, just based on this signing. I mean, I think Carson Wentz is probably an upgrade over Phillip Rivers, but he could also be a downgrade. I really don't. I had a lot of faith in Carson Wentz at the beginning of his career. I mean, I remember some of those plays where it just looked like he was getting swarmed by 5 defenders, and he somehow got out of it and made a perfect pass downfield. And that, I love that. I mean, the just the magician aspect where you can escape out of a should-be sack and still pick up positive yards is something I love watching from the quarterback position. But, it's just, can he stay healthy? Can he stay confident? And is Indianapolis the right place for him? And I think it is. I think it is a good spot. It's just he's got to, I think people have started doubting him a little bit more recently, and he's just got to prove those doubters wrong. But it's a good opportunity to do it.
You could have said the same thing about Phil Rivers, because a lot of people thought he was done in L.A., the Chargers, and he came back, played well, and almost beat the Bills.
That's very true. Yeah, I mean, do you think that same exact Colts team, Carson Wentz, beats Buffalo?
2017 and 2018, even 2019, Carson Wentz probably wins that game.
Yeah. What about 2020 Carson Wentz, though, last year?
Well, that's another story.
Yeah. All right. He's got a whole offseason to prepare. Hopefully we have a more normal offseason this year, God willing. But, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. It's an AFC team. It's an AFC rival. I'll be watching them closely. And, it's tough for the Super Bowl in the AFC, but, they definitely, if they make the right moves in the offseason, everyone rehabs correctly and is ready to start the year, then I think they definitely have a shot at it for sure.
Speaking of aggressiveness, it's interesting because you look at the two teams that have made big quarterback trades in LA getting Stafford and the Colts getting Carson Wentz, and what team or teams could be next in making a big push for a quarterback, because you think Deshaun Watson, Sam Darnold, potentially Jimmy Garoppolo.
I mean, obviously Houston is kind of been the team in the spotlight for the last couple months now, it seems like, or at least the stories seem like it's dragged on that long. I mean, it's Houston's definitely the number one spot that I've been looking at, because, Miami's been linked with Deshaun Watson here and there. And as much as I don't even want to get into that, to be honest, Houston, it's just a weird situation because Houston's is saying that they don't want to trade him. He's going to be a Texan, but Deshaun Watson very clearly does not want to be there. He has a no trade clause, but he's in control of where he goes because of the no trade clause. So if they get a good offer, but it's a team from like the Jets, he might not want to take up that opportunity. So it'll be very interesting to see how that situation plays out. And speaking of the Jets, is it time to move on from Sam Darnold? Or are they taking a quarterback at that number 2 spot? Or, I mean, obviously, Justin Fields or do they pick, or do they surprise everyone, take Penei Sewell? And if they have faith in Sam Darnold, or even try and help Sam Darnold out by taking Devonta Smith, which a lot of Dolphins fans are afraid of that happening. So, the Jets are definitely another interesting spot as well. And then it leads to San Francisco and what's going to happen with Garoppolo if they're pushing for Deshaun Watson, or if they're pushing to maybe make another move or something like that. But there's a bunch of teams this year who don't seem to be too happy about their quarterback situation. I think Denver was another one who'd been linked. Deshaun Watson had there was a report that said Deshaun Watson would be interested in playing for Denver, I believe, or something like that. So there's a lot of different spots. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, and even Miami. I mean, people keep talking about this Deshaun Watson and Tua thing. I'm on the Tua train. As great of an athlete Deshaun Watson is, I think it's best to use the assets that Chris Greer has accumulated the last couple of years and really build that team around him. But Deshaun Watson's a sparkly toy in a toy shop, and sometimes you might want to shell out the big bucks to get it. So you never know what's going to happen.
I can think of another couple teams that would look good with a quarterback. I mean, you mentioned Sam Darnold. I mentioned what he would do with the Washington football team, because Taylor Heineke played really well against Tom Brady in that wild card game. And Washington's got not a good defensive line, not a great defensive line, a ferocious
Yeah.
defensive line. One that I would not want to face 16 times a year.
Oh no, I wouldn't want to see them walking down the street. That's
And you imagine if the football team got Sam Darnold, maybe one more receiver. I mean, the NFC East is up for grabs right now. I mean, the
very good
Eagles
point.
are rebuilding. I mean, yeah, the Giants are improving, but how good is Daniel Jones?
Right.
And goodness knows what the Cowboys will do with Dak Prescott. I mean, could the football team take control of the NFC East?
Yeah, I mean, I think if I were to pick one team next year that has the pieces to take control of that division, I definitely think Washington is there. I mean, you look at Scary Terry McLaurin, one guy you didn't mention. I mean, he's just an absolute beast. I know Washington fans are loving him. I mean, if they can, I mean, do you think Sam Darnold is an upgrade for maybe not most teams, but most quarterback needy teams? Or I mean, it's hard because he's been with the Jets, so like it's kind of hard. It's whether that is on Adam Gase, which I think a lot of people definitely would like to assume it's on Adam Gase, or whether that's on terrible run game or terrible offensive line or receiver. I mean, or defense. I mean. Or is it on Sam Darnold? So that's the thing that I'm not quite. Obviously playing them twice a year, Darnold never really looked that great against Miami. So if I'm an NFL franchise and I'm looking to bring another quarterback in, I don't think Sam Darnold's really near the top of my list. But for a team like Washington, who is in a really weak division with a defense that can carry them, and some weapons that you really just need to get the ball to, maybe Sam Darnold could be the guy just to push them to the top of that division.
And another team that could make a move, two teams that could make a move for Deshaun Watson. One, Carolina. Of course, Deshaun Watson went to Clemson, so it'd be a mini homecoming. I mean, it seemed like he played a lot of games in Charlotte when he was at Clemson playing those ACC championship games. But obviously the Panthers with a very young roster. You've got all those young receivers, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and of course CMC.
Right.
Plus, the Panther, Teddy Bridgewater is a good quarterback, but is he Deshaun Watson?
No, he's not.
No.
The only
Deshaun Watson would be the star the Panthers need, because if you look at the NFC South, other than Tom Brady, they're question marks. I mean, Drew Brees hasn't officially announced his retirement, but it's coming sooner or later. I mean, goodness knows what the Falcons do with that number 4 pick. Could Trey Lance or Justin Fields be Matt Ryan's replacement?
Mm-hmm.
So Carolina needs if not franchise quarterback, maybe it's next franchise quarterback. And then another team that should be going all in for quarterback, the Bears.
The Bears.
Oh gosh, do I need to see another Mitchell Trubisky highlight?
There's not many of them out there, I really don't think. But,
at least from 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, what do the Bears have? A great defense. You've got one of the best pass rushers in football in Khalil Mack. You've got David Montgomery, Tyreek Cohen coming off the 20 ACL.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bears already went all in for Khalil Mack. Why not go all in for Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
And it'd be fitting, because guess who passed up Deshaun Watson in 2017?
The Bears. Yep. And with one of the most questionable, confusing draft day trades I think I've ever seen. Just what they traded up from 3 to 2, I believe.
3 to 2 with San Francisco to get Mitchell Trubisky.
San Francisco wasn't even going to take him. I mean, unless they knew something I didn't. It didn't look like San Francisco was going to be drafting Mitchell Trubisky in my mind. But I mean, maybe obviously I'm not an NFL GM, so there must have been some method to that. Maybe I mean, it was only one spot, so the only possible reason they would have to make that trade is if they thought San Francisco would have taken him. But I mean, I don't know. That I just every time I hear Mitchell Trubisky, I think about that trade, and I still can't figure it out. But yeah, no, go on.
Maybe the Bears looked at the wrong ACC quarterback. That I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't know, but the Bears, they like you said. I mean, they've got one of the nastiest defenses. I mean, they've always been known for their defense, but it's not Mike Ditka anymore. It's the Khalil Mack, and he's might be even scarier. I don't know. That's a tough comparison there, but Rich, I definitely agree with you, and I think Bears fans will also agree with you that Mitchell Trubisky probably isn't the long-term solution for him.
Yeah, might be.
Well, you want to switch it up? Let's take it from football to football. It's Mr. Captain America, Christian Pulisic. He's kind of been on a milk carton over there at the Stamford Bridge, huh? What's been going on with him, buddy?
Don't ask me about Mr. Incognito, aka Christian Pulisic. I don't know what the heck's happening. Do you know how many games he started under Thomas Tuchel?
One?
You would be correct. One game in an FA Cup fifth rounder against Barnsley, and he didn't even play the whole game.
No. I mean, so I've been so focused on United. I haven't really been seeing Chelsea starting lineups lately. I mean, you all have been winning. Who's been starting over him? Is it Willian?
No, Williams and
Arsenal. What am I? What? I don't know what I just did there. Ignore me. Ignore that massive slip up I just had. Who's starting over Christian Pulisic? And I'm not even going to suggest the name because that was horrible.
Well, lately the Blues have been playing a lot of 3-4-3, 3-5-2, 3-4-2-1, and I'm not sure that really suits Pulisic.
Yeah. Do you have him as a? Would you prefer him like on the wing or up top?
Wing. He's not. I really don't want him playing the number 10. Yeah, I've got a Chelsea. Wait, let me see if I've got Chelsea's formation from the last. Yeah, that's the one I'm on. We got Chelsea's formation from the last game, and I think it's a 3-4-2-1 with Werner, Abraham, Mount, Hudson-Odoi, Alonso as the wing backs, with Jorginho, Kovacic in midfield, Cesar Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Christensen in defense.
Kept in goal, yeah.
And Pulisic didn't even play. Conte, Giroud, and Reece James were the subs that night.
I mean, well, here's the thing. Your boys are winning. So, I mean, as much as we all over here love Christian Pulisic, would you want him to start featuring in the starting 11, or are you more thinking, if it's working, maybe give him some time to rest and bring him on as a sub? I mean, I'm trying to think, like, if I had Christian Pulisic as United. I mean, he grew up a United supporter, so when he was leaving from BVB, I was a little hopeful that we'd get him. I didn't think we'd be the best fit for him, but just being an American soccer supporter, and then a Man U supporter, it would have been nice. I would have bought a jersey the day he signed. But I'm just trying to think about it. If my team's in good form, winning games, it just depends on who you take off, because if you've got players who are playing confidently and putting the ball in the back of the net and making and getting goal scoring opportunities, I mean, sometimes as much as it might not be worth playing one of those guys just to mess up the flow of the team. But I don't know. It is surprising, like you said, with Thomas Tuchel coming in. I mean, they have history. Maybe the history isn't working in Christian Pulisic's favor. I don't know, but it's. I mean, fortunately for you, it's kind of a problem that's not really a problem because you're still winning. You guys have been in good form. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's a problem as an American Chelsea supporter, but as a when you look at the overall aspect of it, I mean, you're getting the job done. So I would much rather be in your situation in the last couple of games other than our 9-0 dismantling of Southampton, because some of the last couple of games have been very frustrating at Old Trafford. But oh gosh, it's just making me sad thinking about it.
Hey, yeah, at least you beat Real Sociedad last night in Turin, so at least one of you. At least you got a
Yeah,
Europa League win.
we had a little Adnan Januzaj reunion.
Yeah, would that be an Adam Yanazine, a revenge game, as we say in the U.S.?
Didn't quite look like one, I'll say that. I saw him do a couple of throw-ins, but that was about the majority of the contribution it seemed like he really had on the match. I mean, United played well. Bruno is being Bruno. 2 goals. Nice to see Dan James get one too. Dan James is such an interesting little player. It's like so many United supporters I see. It's like if you're not a world class player, you're garbage. And so many United supporters I see on Twitter and all this stuff really don't um, have much sympathy if you're not at the complete height of your game. And Dan James is a player who gets a lot of not hate, but he's not a world class player. But the fact of the matter is, he can come in, he can run for 90 minutes. He's going to be pressing the defensive line. He's going to have maximum effort. And it seems like every time we bring him in, whether it's a Europa League game or a FA Cup game or a game against a bottom of the team table, I see him get a goal or an assist almost more often than not, for sure. So, Dan James is a little player I just want to give a quick little shout out to because his work ethic is always there, and he's a guy who's going to be running every second that he's on the pitch.
You could say the same thing about Mason Mount because
Yeah.
every time I see Mount on the field, he's running for 90 minutes. Like, I
Hmm.
don't see him stop running.
Yeah. Those players, it's just heart. They're playing the game because they love the game. They might not have the Neymar skills or the Messi finishing or the whatever. But
The Kylian Mbappe hat trick at the new camp.
God, that kid is special, huh? How about that? Cristiano was, I think, 31 years old before he scored his first Champions League hat trick, and Mbappe did it at what, 21,
22.
22? God, the kid is. I mean, it's unfortunate because Messi and Ronaldo are obviously growing towards the ends of their careers, but there's some youth out there that we should be very happy that we get to see them at such a young age because we know that they're going to be around for quite some time.
Yeah. If you throw in the Holland at Borussia Dortmund or some of these youngins all around the world, the future. I mean, past, present, and future of football in Europe is past, present, and future of Europe will be one to savor.
Yeah, and hopefully that future includes a little bit more of the boys from the red, white, and blue because we sure have been having some starlets taking over Europe. No, maybe not taking over, but definitely putting their place on the map or putting their name on the map in Europe. So it's nice to see them, and I can't wait for the next World Cup. As long as we qualify, which apparently isn't as easy as everyone thought it is. I think the United States can get a nice little roster coming up in 2022. So I'm excited to see what happens there.
You're not the only one looking forward to the 2022 World Cup. There'll be a little different seeing a winter World Cup in Qatar.
Qatar, yeah, I'm definitely not a big fan of that, but as long as we get to watch the tournament, that's all I need. It's the best tournament in the world. So put it in December, put it in November, put it in May, put it in March, put it anywhere. I don't care. I'm gonna be watching as much of it as I can.
Would you watch it over the Super Bowl?
The Champions League final versus Super Bowl?
No, I mean the World Cup final, the Super Bowl.
Or, I mean, well, yeah, World Cup final over the Super Bowl. It depends who's playing. It depends who's playing the Super Bowl. If it's a Brady, if it's Brady and I don't know who's a team I don't like in the AFC. Brady and Buffalo. If in 2022 the Super Bowl is Brady with Tampa versus the Buffalo Bills in the World Cup final, Portugal, Argentina, maybe a last hurrah for Messi and Cristiano, I would watch that over. That's for sure.
I've got one. I've got one. How about this? The U.S. men's national team against Germany and Doha.
Okay.
Or the Miami Dolphins taking on Aaron Rodgers in LA.
I mean, it's an easy call. It's an easy call to be the Dolphins all the way. But I mean, how are you? Oh man, they would never do that. The Super Bowl would never let the World Cup take their day away from them. So I'm not even gonna. Oh man, the United States in a World Cup final, Miami Dolphins in a Super Bowl on the same day. I'd buy a lottery ticket because there's no way that's something I envision in the near future. But I mean, you never know. Both those teams are definitely up and coming for sure. It's hard to go any farther down than the United States men's national team was almost 4 years back. But and Miami hasn't won a playoff game in 20 years. So it's both teams have a little bit of work to do before they're reaching the championship games. But if I had to pick one, it'd be Miami, just because it's the passion there. But